Behind the gold-plated doors of Dubai's most luxurious villas, something unspeakable is happening. Models vanish after private invitations. Videos are wiped from the internet. And the few who return never speak again. But one woman survived, and what she revealed will make you question everything you thought you knew about wealth, power, and what really hides behind those desert walls. They say the most dangerous parties are the ones no one admits exist. Whispered through private chats and modeling agencies, there's talk of secret Arabian gatherings, events that never make the news, never show up on social media, and yet somehow lure the world's most beautiful women to the middle of the desert. Some call them collector retreats, others are galas. But people who know the industry say it's something else entirely, something that leaves a mark you can't see. Maria Kovalen was 24, a young model from Warsaw with a growing portfolio and the kind of beauty that turns heads in any room. She'd been grinding for years, doing small campaigns and catalog work, until one winter, her social media suddenly changed. Overnight, she was on yachts, sipping champagne in infinity pools, standing beside luxury cars she never tagged. Her followers noticed the shift, the expensive clothes, the private jets, the sudden silence about where she was. Her captions grew shorter, next level, new life, grateful. Then the hashtag stopped altogether. When friends asked what had changed, Maria said she was meeting people in the art world, but her agency couldn't confirm any bookings. Her manager told investigators that Maria began receiving encrypted messages, invitations sent through an app most people had never heard of. They had gold icons, vague coordinates, and names like Desert Bloom and Light Gala. Maria mentioned one in particular, Desert Light, describing it as a life-changing private event hosted by art collectors in Dubai. One of her friends, a makeup artist named Elise, recalled her tone. She wasn't bragging. She sounded enchanted, like someone had promised her a dream. But when I pressed for details, she got defensive. She said, "You wouldn't understand. It's not about money. It's about becoming part of something bigger." That was the last real conversation we had. Within days, Maria's Instagram stories became unsettlingly curated, flashes of dunes, glass villas, torches in the distance. One showed a group of people wearing white near a bonfire, but their faces were blurred. When Elise tried to message her about it, the story was deleted within minutes. The narrator describes an eerie pattern. Every model who had posted about Desert Light in the past year deleted her entire online presence within weeks, profiles gone, emails bouncing, agencies claiming they'd moved on. It was as if they'd been erased, or told to erase themselves. 2 days later, Maria booked a one-way ticket to Dubai. The flight was paid for by an unnamed sponsor, with no return date listed. Airport records show she checked in alone at 5:14 p.m., wearing beige and sunglasses. Security footage captured her looking directly into the camera once before walking away, the last confirmed sighting of her before she vanished. Her manager received one final call from her that evening. The connection was poor, filled with static and wind. Maria was outside, somewhere dark. You could hear faint music behind her, drums echoing off what sounded like stone. Her voice trembled slightly, not in fear, but awe. "There's something about the desert," she said softly. "They said it was built on ancient ground." The call cut out mid-sentence. When her manager tried to call back, the number had already been disconnected. That was the last time anyone heard from Maria Kovalen. 3 days after that final call, Maria's modeling agency filed a missing persons report. At first, no one took it seriously. She was an adult, a model known for spontaneous travel, and Dubai wasn't exactly the middle of nowhere. But something about her case didn't add up. Her return ticket was never booked, her phone went dead within hours of arrival, and none of her friends could reach her on social media. It was as if Maria had simply vanished into the sand. Investigators began reconstructing her final movements. Flight records confirmed she landed in Dubai at 1:07 a.m. on local time. Security footage showed her passing through customs, smiling briefly as she met a man holding a sign that read Desert Light. He wore white linen, his face partially hidden by a scarf. The two walked toward a black SUV waiting outside the terminal. That vehicle was never found again. Hotel databases revealed no check-ins under her name, but her credit card was used once to purchase bottled water at a small shop on the edge of Al Qudra Desert. Locals later told police that they'd seen foreign girls traveling in luxury convoys through the dunes at night, headed toward private compounds that weren't on any public registry. 2 days later, Maria's agency received a voice note from an unknown number. It was only 8 seconds long. Her voice was trembling. They said, "We're staying at Al Noor Villa. But there's no signal here. If you don't hear from me again, just tell them I didn't mean to stay." After that, silence. The narrator explains that Al Noor Villa couldn't be found on any map. No building permits, no land ownership records, nothing. Yet satellite scans of the region revealed faint outlines of a compound deep in the desert, almost half buried in sand, shaped like a crescent. Around it, scorch marks. Weeks later, an anonymous message surfaced on a dark web forum used by ex-staff and security workers in Dubai. The post title read, "Desert Light is not a party. Stop sending girls." The user claimed to have worked as a driver for an event near Al Marmoom Conservation Area. His story was simple. He transported guests blindfolded to prevent them from knowing the route. He said the hosts called the gatherings offerings, and at sunrise, the chosen ones were gone. Authorities dismissed it as fiction. But then came something they couldn't ignore. A French model named Clara Dubois, who had been missing since 2020, was briefly found at a small clinic outside Abu Dhabi. Disoriented and half-conscious, she claimed to have escaped from a golden house in the sand. She said the guests there wore masks of silver, and that at night, music would echo through the dunes, not human music, but a low, rhythmic chant that vibrated the air. When asked who hosted the event, Clara whispered, "They don't have names, only symbols." She was sedated shortly after and disappeared from the hospital hours later. No record of her discharge was ever filed. The narrator continues, "The deeper investigators dug, the stranger it became." Maria's last Instagram backup file contained fragments of corrupted images, each file renamed with random numbers. When enhanced, they showed a group of figures standing around a fire, dressed in white, their shadows stretching across the dunes. But something about the image was wrong. One of the figures, Maria herself, had no shadow. Then, after nearly 3 weeks, a miracle, or so it seemed, a truck driver reported seeing a woman wandering barefoot along an old airport road near Al Lasali, dehydrated and covered in desert dust. She was mumbling incoherently, her eyes sunburned, her lips cracked. It was Maria. She'd been missing for 19 days. Hospital records describe her as severely dehydrated, with strange circular burn marks on her wrists and neck, like something had been pressed against her skin. When doctors tried to question her, she only repeated one phrase, "They never cast shadows." For a while, the world took interest. News outlets reported her miraculous survival. Influencers speculated about secret trafficking rings, and conspiracy forums lit up. But when the narrator contacted one of the attending nurses, she told a darker version. Maria refused to be near mirrors or reflective surfaces. She screamed whenever she caught her reflection, claiming "It isn't me." The hospital requested psychiatric evaluation, but before it could happen, Maria vanished from her room one night. Security footage showed her walking calmly down the hallway, barefoot, her hospital gown fluttering. The lights flickered as she passed. When they checked the door she exited through, it was locked from the inside. Maria was never found again. And just like that, the case was closed, labeled psychotic fugue, disappearance unresolved. But deep in archive police files, there's one final image, a security still from the night she left the hospital. In the reflection of the glass door, she's not alone. Something stands behind her. By the time Maria Kovalen disappeared for the second time, the story had already gone viral. News channels called it the Desert Light Mystery. But what most people didn't know was that authorities, quietly, off the record, had recovered something they never released to the public. A week after Maria's hospital disappearance, investigators combed through her belongings that had been left behind: a suitcase, a phone, and a small notebook. The phone was water damaged, almost unreadable, but digital forensics managed to recover fragments, corrupted videos, incomplete photos, and one recording that no one could explain. The first recovered photo showed Maria in front of a mirror, somewhere luxurious, white marble, golden lights, a villa straight out of a billionaire's fantasy. But when technicians zoomed in, the reflection didn't match. In the mirror, Maria was smiling, yet her real expression in the photo was blank. The timestamps of the image were identical down to the second. Then came the video. It was only 11 seconds long. At first, it looked like a shaky clip of a bonfire in the desert, surrounded by figures in white robes. But as the audio was enhanced, a low chant became clear, rhythmic, ancient, layered with multiple voices speaking in unison. Linguists later identified fragments of the chant as Layl al-Zahib, the Golden Night. The same phrase appeared in a rare pre-Islamic manuscript referencing rituals of illumination through the reflection of others. Most of those manuscripts had been lost centuries ago, burned or buried. The footage ended abruptly, but on the final frame, analysts noticed something eerie. The fire didn't emit smoke. Instead, faint golden sparks floated upward, defying gravity, as if being pulled into the sky. Another investigator, a forensic pathologist named Dr. Rana Idris, reported a disturbing pattern among several cold cases. At least 5 missing models between 2018 and 2022 had photographs tagged near similar coordinates across the Arabian desert. Every one of them vanished shortly after posting an image of themselves near mirrored structures or reflective sculptures in the sand. Each file contained hidden metadata with the same phrase, property of desert light. The narrator's tone grows darker, because this is where the evidence shifts from disturbing to impossible. In a closed police memo, a security contractor revealed that fragments of a building foundation had been found buried under dunes near where Maria was discovered. It was made of mirrored glass, scorched, partially melted, as though exposed to extreme heat, but there was no sign of fire damage anywhere else in the surrounding desert. Inside the fragments, investigators found something fused within the glass. Fingerprints. Thousands of them, all layered over one another. Human, yet twisted, elongated, as if they'd been stretched. No one could explain it. The site was quietly sealed and written off as environmental anomaly. Weeks later, an anonymous source sent the narrator a memory card claiming it contained the rest of Maria's footage. The contents were disturbing, mostly static, distorted visuals, but one file stood out. It showed Maria standing before a mirror, whispering something over and over. Subtitles generated by a transcription read, "It follows light. It doesn't forgive reflections." Behind her, something flickered, a silhouette that wasn't hers. Experts confirmed the voice belonged to Maria, but there was no way to authenticate the image. The reflection moved a split second before she did. Then came the final piece, CCTV footage from the hospital, never aired publicly. Investigators reviewing it noticed a phenomenon they couldn't logically explain. The night Maria vanished, her reflection in the hallway glass lagged half a frame behind her real movement. When she turned left, the reflection hesitated, almost like it was watching her go. The camera timestamp glitched right as she reached the exit door, freezing for exactly 3 hours 33 minutes and 0 seconds AM. When it resumed, the hallway was empty. The narrator pauses, voice low, measured. Weeks later, satellite imagery of the desert near Al-Lasali showed something new, a faint geometric shimmer visible only at night, right where Al-Noor Villa was once rumored to stand. Locals began calling it the glowing sand. When explorers tried to approach the site, their GPS units malfunctioned. Cameras refused to focus. Some reported seeing their reflections move on their own in the lens, always smiling, even when they weren't. Today, that area is off limits, officially due to military research activity. Unofficially, no one goes near it after dark. Maria's case file remains open, but buried in digital archives. Her last photo, still circulating online, shows her standing in the desert at twilight, her hair catching the dying sun. Look closely, though, and you'll see it, the faint outline of another face in the reflection of her sunglasses. A face smiling back at her. And to this day, no one knows whose it was. The official report on Maria Kovalen's case ended quietly, a few vague statements, no arrests, and a polite reminder that no evidence of organized crime was found. But behind that cold legal language lies a trail of missing women, encrypted invites, and photos that were never supposed to exist. Every few months, a new model's name gets whispered in the same circles, and the cycle starts again: luxury, flight, silence. People who worked with Maria say that sometimes, in the middle of the night, her old Instagram account flickers online for a few minutes, like someone logging in. But the posts are empty, captions blank, as if someone is checking that her story hasn't been completely erased. A journalist who once investigated the so-called desert light parties claimed to have received an email attachment, a short 4-second clip of a villa courtyard, lit by hundreds of candles. You can see silhouettes moving, a woman's voice crying out in another language, and then, darkness. The IP trace led to a server in Dubai. A week later, the journalist deleted his account and vanished from social media. Maybe the truth was buried under sand, under money, under fear. Maybe Maria's story was never meant to reach daylight. But if everything she said was just a hallucination, how do you explain the phone footage, the wounds, the missing flight manifests? How do you explain the whispers of people who claim they were there and survive? And here's the part that chills me most. One of Maria's last diary notes read, "They said the desert doesn't just swallow people, it keeps them." To this day, no one knows what really happened inside those gates. The guests, the guards, the music, the rituals all vanished into the heat. But some nights, when the wind blows through the dunes, locals swear they hear laughter. Faint, distant, like a party echoing from another world. If this story sent chills down your spine, hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you subscribe, because next time, we're diving even deeper into the kind of horror that hides behind wealth, silence, and shadows.